Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to our continuing coverage of the Halo 4 Spartan Ops experience. I am back here with HaloFanForLife to talk about Episode 4, Didact's Hand.
Hello.
Hello. Again.
Yeah, again, yes.
It's been a little while since we've actually recorded one up front, but we're back to talk about another episode of Spartan Ops. This is kind of leading on to more of the stage that was set in the last episode, and this is where we start to really get into the juicy bits, I think, for the whole Season 1 experience.
Jul's juicy bits. Juicy Jules.
I did. Your words, not mine.
Yeah.
So we've gotten to the point where Jul is now the focus of the storyline, and it's going to be like that for the next 2 episodes, but we're going to see some interesting story points develop as we now have Halsey on board, and stuff between all the Spartan teams, Captain Lasky, and all that good stuff. So let's just dive right into it, shall we?
We shall.
Okie dokie. So the first scene that we have here for the CGI cutscene is we have Spartans Thorne and Grant walking down a hallway, going to pick up Halsey to escort her around the ship for her daily whatever she's planning to do, her research and stuff. So they're talking, and Grant asks Thorne why he's interested in taking care of old crotchety old Halsey for the day. And he's just kind of interested in what she's doing. So when they get there, he opens the door and says that he's going to be her escort for the day. So they walked over to the artifact, and he starts asking Halsey questions, mainly about the original Spartans. And she throws back with that most of that stuff is still classified, but with the discussion that they had in the train over to the engine room from the last episode, he starts to ask why did she take children instead of trained Marines and people that had experience in fighting. And without going into too much detail, she explains that there's kind of the psychological and physiological reasons why using kids is a lot better for when doing this kind of program is just kind of will get the results that she wanted.
From that early and not knowing anything else gives them that advantage.
Right. And there's...
Do you think so?
I mean, they don't go into detail of this in the CGI stuff, but if you've read the books, there's some, especially...
Fall of Reach?
Yes, that one. I keep on getting like First Strike and Fall of Reach mixed up.
I'm actually rereading that again now, and it's awesome. You got to reread it. It's fantastic. Go ahead. So
there's the reasons that they picked them up as kids is because they're kind of susceptible to brainwashing, and they can alter their physiology as they're growing, and it's a lot easier for those changes to take effect on a individual that is developing instead of someone that's already pretty much entered maturity and everything is set in place. So those are kind of the 2 big things why they took children instead of trained Marines at the time.
Thorne goes on to say, though, so you don't think we're capable of being Spartans, which kind of elicits a response from Halsey. She's like, well, perhaps some of you are closer than others. Which, is kind of a nod towards Thorne, but you can tell her opinion of Spartan Forces is really not that high.
Oh, and if there's a whole story behind that, too. If you read Ghosts of Onyx, and
right,
if you read the Karen Travis novels, she basically felt backstabbed by Ackerson and Mendez, 2 key character roles in the development of the Spartan 4 program. And they're not hers, and she spent years of studying how to do this and what was the best formula for making Spartans, and she probably still feels that her formula is the right way because, actually, I take that back. Ackerson and Mendez was for the Spartan 3s. Misspoke there.
It's all right.
But the Spartan 3s were originally designed to be more easily expendable than Halsey's Spartan 2s. So that's kind of another reason. I don't know what the history behind the Spartan 4s are. I don't know if that's in Thursday War or anything. I haven't gotten quite there yet.
We'll get there.
But those are kind of I think the key factors in playing into why Halsey doesn't think the Spartan 4s live up to her standard of Spartans. And her criteria was a lot more strict than the ones for the Spartan 3s and the Spartan 4s.
Yeah.
And there were a lot of failures from it, too. A lot of...
washouts.
Yeah. And that plays into a key role in one of the characters that comes up in one of the future episodes that has come out of this recording, but we're not quite there yet. So we'll save that for when we get there. But yeah, so as Sal said, Halsey pretty much gives the sentiment to Thorne, saying that some are pretty close to what she calls Spartans. During that discussion, she gets a message on her tablet from someone that she doesn't know who is talking to her, and she tries to keep it low key, just like acting like as if it's just information she's looking at her datapad while talking to Thorne. So some things come up, and there's going to be a little bit more conversations that go on there. We'll flash back to it here in a little bit. But we have another scene where it goes up to the bridge with Captain Lasky and Commander Palmer, and they're going over an incident where some supplies were being dropped off at a science base, and they got attacked.
Yeah.
And this base was... in particular, the one that was going to research where the library was found when Chief was going through the campaign. And actually, for some reason, I didn't make this connection until, like, the trailer for... Or, not the trailer.
The video?
Yeah, the trailer for the latest one came out, where the room that Jul has... Dr. Glassman, and this is actually the same one that Chief was in. I for some reason I didn't make that connection. It was staring me right in the face. But yeah, it's the exact same room.
Yeah, there's several things like that. If you could miss them quickly.
So I don't know why I didn't make that connection before, but now it's just like, wow, that was obvious. I guess one of those small details I just blanked on.
It's all right.
So the science team that was being deployed to the area where the librarian was found was shot down pretty much on site. And of all people to be there, Jul Mdama, the one big bad Covenant dude that we've all been having our problems with, is on the ground, which means that's really, really bad news.
Yeah.
Especially for the UNSC. So obviously Jul has found out where the librarian is, and they've taken the stronghold there, and now they're pretty much locked out. And this is where the rest of the story is going to go, is revolving all around this librarian AI. But after we see that we spotted Jul down there, we flash back to Dr. Halsey and Spartan Thorne, and we've seen that Dr. Halsey has responded to this strange person that has come up on her tablet. I don't think she really has an idea of who it is at this point.
Not yet.
But the person on the other end is asking if she knew anything about the Prometheans. And at this point, I don't know how much she knows. I'm assuming she knows quite a bit. I'm guessing she was briefed by somebody, even if it was Lasky, about the situation, if she was called out there to help them with what was going on.
Mm-hmm. What I like is right after this, though, we get at least a glimpse of Thorne's history.
Yeah, so do you want to expand on that? I know I've been talking a lot.
Oh, that's okay. Well, after she looks at her data pad and that message, she says, so Mr. Thorne, what interest is my research to you specifically? And then he goes on to say, well, I was enlisted with the Spartans. He was in the army a year before his friends and family were killed in New Phoenix, and he also thought that the Spartans were special. And then she goes on to say, well, does it help you in your grief being on Requiem shooting at the Prometheans? And, he's thinking, well, maybe you could have saved him. Then from there, well, it's funny. She actually doesn't say Prometheans. She said, what do they call them? Prometheans? It's kind of like, she's acting like she's not in the know. It's funny because, right there, you can see that she's being devious, and she's actually trying to use a little bit of her charms at the same time, which is kind of funny for her. But anyways, then she asks Thorne, what kind of, what can the Prometheans on Requiem give to the UNSC? And Thorne's like, well, they're just robots, hard light and battle armor, ruthless and brutal. What can they offer us? Nothing. And she's like, interesting.
Well, she also goes and explains some of the Greek mythology behind Prometheus.
Right. That is that Prometheus stole fire from the gods and gave it to humanity.
So implying that's maybe they have something for humanity there. Right. And that kind of serves as a dual purpose, I think, coming in some of the later episodes for Spartan Ops.
Mm-hmm.
Because, so there was a part during the campaign where the Didact was saying, if you haven't mastered these primitives, then you do not deserve the mantle.
Or clearly you haven't achieved the mantle or something.
Yeah, I don't remember the exact wording, but it's something to that effect. And I think he was basically talking about if humanity hasn't figured out a way how to control Prometheans.
Or the Covenant. I think he's talking about the Covenant there when he's talking about primitives, because the Promethean Knights weren't primitive. I'm pretty sure he's talking about the Covenant there.
Okay.
If we haven't figured out how to overcome the Covenant, then we're certainly not up at the stage ready to take on the mantle.
Well, so the reason I was thinking the Prometheans, because he basically instantly turned over the Prometheans that were there, the librarians Prometheans, to his side.
Yeah.
So that was my reasoning at the time, but I guess the Covenant makes sense.
Well, yeah, I guess you could look at it either way. I guess I'll sit on the camp of the Covenant side on that one, but you could look at it either way, I guess.
I'm just trying to think back during Cryptum and Primordium, the brief history that we have on the war between the elites, or the Sangheili, and the humans. How much of that is kind of translating back through here, and if he's talking about primitives in that sense, then maybe he was of the opinion that humanity was actually the greater force than the Sangheili?
Well, yeah, I would think so.
So why make that?
I don't know.
Maybe I'm thinking too much.
Could be.
It'll be interesting to see more of the story when Silentium comes out. I'll say that.
Which is coming out in March. What is it, March?
March 19th.
19th, yeah.
Yep. Let's see. So wrapping up the CGI episode part, we go back to Requiem, where Dr. Glassman is fiddling with some of the Covenant tech, trying to get the librarian AI activated. And Jul's kind of toting around him, asking for his progress and how he's been doing. And he kind of fires back. It's like, well, with all this Covenant tech, I can't really do much. It's like banging two sticks together.
Mm-hmm.
And, of course, Jul takes somewhat offense to that, but he really can't do anything since, Glassman's really the only person that knows what he's doing among everyone there. So, after that whole little debacle, Glassman kind of starts to take a seat back and kind of imagine what the librarian would kind of give and when she was been activated, like just kind of information or what other information that she would give. And then Mdama, of course, being his all like mighty self, is like, the Forerunner would reveal their treasures to us and tell us how to control it. So the whole kind of religious, what's the word I'm looking for?
Zealot?
Yeah, zealot. Kicks in for Mdama, and of of course, being the leadership role, he kind of has to be.
Yeah. Man, they're just screwed up. The Covenant are just so screwed up. Well, at least the faction that he's with.
Right. And I'm reading through Glasslands right now, and it's interesting to see, because he wasn't like this before. He wasn't a religious person to start off with. He was back when they had the giant schism. This is the period right after the Covenant was broken up after Halo 3. He was more focused on the whole fact that peace with humanity wasn't possible.
Right.
That the discussions between Lord Hood and the Arbiter were going to be ones that didn't lead anywhere. So his original intent was to assassinate the Arbiter and take his place.
Right.
And bring San Helios back to its kind of proper state and its kind of superior spot in the galaxy. But I'm getting to the point now in the book where they've resorted to going to some of the religious zealots that still believe in the Forerunners and are kind of organized around their shrines and what they've left behind.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess during that process, he's somewhat converted more into a religious nut instead of focused on the peace between humanity and the Covenant or the Sangheili.
Yeah. Well, I think he, beyond that, he sees the potential for Forerunner technology, and and using the zealots to gain that will gain him power. Right.
But the thing that still puzzles me is that if the Foreigners have come and said that humanity is pretty much the Reclaimers, and we even saw this when, let's see, what book was it? I think it was Ghosts of Onyx, where we saw the Prophet of Truth and Regret go and activate the Dreadnought to figure out what these symbols that were popping up were when they first scanned, or maybe it was Contact Harvest. It was one of I think it was Contact Harvest, actually. And the thing that the Dreadnought came out and said is that the humans that they found, this race that they found, were Reclaimers.
Yeah.
Of their technology, and they quickly suppressed that. So I don't know if that is still part of what the prophets have put in as their brainwashing thing for the rest of the Covenant, and the elites have taken hold to that, because it's clearly put out there that humanity is going to be the one that eventually takes over all the Forerunner stuff.
Yeah. Well, like I was saying, I think Jul has it in mind that he needs to take Helios back from the Arbiter so that they can go and wipe out humanity and take the Forerunner technology for themselves. So by using the Zealots, who are closer to that scheme of things, and really worshiping the Forerunners for their technology, that he can find a means to his ends by achieving that, by getting them on his side, by getting that technology, and then finally being able to destroy humanity. It's a large scale thing.
Needless to say, he's whacked up in the head.
Oh, yeah. Oh, definitely.
As are all the religious nuts, because the prophets were whacked up in the head.
Yes.
All right. Let's move on to some of that chapters, shall we?
Let's do that.
All right. So the first one for this episode is called Harry Call.
Bow, chicka, bow, wow. Oh, sorry. I can't help it, but every time I hear that chapter name.
Okie dokie. We have discovered Covenant are using a Requiem comnet to communicate secretly. This is on the map Sniper Alley, and your objective, tap the new Covenant network. So for this mission, what is going on is the Covenant have managed to hide their network traffic, and has piqued interest in the UNSC scientists, seeing that all the Covenant traffic that was there before is kind of dwindled out now, even though they're still providing a hard time for the UNSC. So we have found out where a terminal node for this network is, and Fireteam Crimson, you are being sent in to go figure out where it is. Tap tap into it if possible, and then have it patched through Infinity so they can decrypt what's going on.
Before we go any further, as always with Sniper Alley, you should definitely take in a weapon that has some mid to long range capabilities. So definitely a DMR and or a BR are recommended for this mission.
Right, but another thing to note on here is that the Jackal snipers that you've had to worry about in the past, there aren't really that many here this time, so it's not as big of an issue to worry about now for this time in Sniper Alley.
Yeah.
So that was nice. It's nice not being constantly targeted by
beam rifles.
8 different beam rifles from who knows what direction.
That's the fun of it, though.
Yeah, it's like playing whack-a-mole. You stick your head up and you're instantly shot. Okay, let's try round 2. Oh, okay, 3, 4. Oh, there we go, 4th time. I figured out where 2 of them are. Oh, now I'm getting shot by another one.
Oh, hey, quickly, too.
It's like this long game of Covenant whack-a-mole, except you're the mole.
At the very beginning of this mission, there are 2 grunts. You see them in the cutscene, but then as soon as the mission starts off, they're running away from you. Those are 2 grunts that you can easily run up on and assassinate. So if you're working on your backstab commendation and Spartan Ops, those are 2. Just take them out quickly and add to that commendation.
Indeed. So at the start of it all, what you're going to do is after you assassinate the 2 grunts, you start off at the bottom of the alley, and you have to go up through the rocks again. So in your first little area, take out all the Covenant there. It's pretty simple, straight run through. You just go in, kill everything, and make your way up the alley. There's a couple of weapon crates in that first area, and then as you make your way up, before you cross the bridge back in that corner where it usually is, there's another weapon crate there. There's a weapon crate on top of the platform at the top of the first time that you go up there, and then there's another one in the back. So the places where the weapon crates have been in the past run-throughs on this mission is where they are here.
Convenient.
Yeah, really convenient.
Don't forget to take out the shade turret gunners as well from a distance. Make it easier on yourself.
Yeah, so as long as you start with a loadout that has a precision weapon, there's going to be ammo crates along the way where you don't have to worry about swapping out weapons too much. The only thing is there's a couple of needlers that get dropped by some grunts and jackals and things, and those are nice to use on the elites sometimes if you're...
Definitely.
If you want to swap out your secondary with one of those. So on your way up, Covenant drop, and for some reason you're not getting the forewarning that you normally get. And as it turns out, Spartan Miller is having a lot harder time tracking the Covenant movements, especially around that area. So as you're going up, you'll be not as informed as you have been in the past on some of these missions. I wonder why. We
shall see.
We shall see. So as you make your way up, there's really nothing special about it, no special objectives. You just got to get to the top and activate this pylon as quickly as possible. There is the first switch that you activate is right when you go up the ramp to the very top platform. It's going to be right there, and then you have to run around to the other side and activate the 2 pylons, and those are going to be kind of I would like to say they're kind of the radio antennas of the whole network because there's 2 of them.
Yeah.
So, but after you activate that first switch, you will have 2 phantoms come in and drop. I believe it's 2 phantoms come in and drop enemies, and there is a hunter pair in one of them. So be careful as you're going around and activating the pylons. It is possible to get them activated really quickly especially if you're doing co-op.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're doing it 3, that's the best way because you can just have one person line up to activate the 1 switch, and then you can have the 2 other people activate the 2 pylons, and then you just run away as quickly as possible. So the enemies that actually get dropped there, you really don't have to worry about.
It's not necessary to kill them.
Right. Where in the past missions you had to pretty much kill all the Covenant that are there, this is one of those rare exceptions where you don't have to worry about all of the enemies that are in the area. Because usually what Infinity does is there's a few more Prometheans or Covenant left in your area, and then waypoint markers come up. But now, this time, thankfully, you don't have to worry about it. I think this is one of the only times. I can't think of another time where you...
Yeah, I can't either. I think you're right.
Where you can just skip over Covenant or Prometheans.
Then again, when you get towards the near the end of the mission, where you get to your evac zone, if you haven't killed them, you're going to run up against a lot more enemies that are coming at you. So if you leave some behind, those ones are going to follow you too. So you might be getting shot at from both sides. So
they don't always follow.
Yeah. But for the ones that do. Either way, I tend to just kill them all anyways.
Well, it also depends on what difficulty you're doing it on. If you're doing it like solo, this definitely ones you want to kind of skip, especially the hunters.
Yeah.
Because I've never seen the hunters come after me after I go back down.
Yeah, once you get back to that bridge on the top part, I don't think they follow you over the bridge.
Right. But after you activate the pylons, you're told to go back down to your extraction point, which is where you were dropped off originally. And there's more Covenant that come in, and the enemies are dropping before Miller is even able to see that they're there.
Mm-hmm.
So, of course, Palmer is like just wailing away at him. Is like, why are you not informing Crimson? Why is it taking so long to figure this out?
That Spartan Miller, he's not a real Spartan.
Yeah, we haven't seen him go through much fighting recently, yeah. and with some of the newer episodes, it's like, really?
Yeah, we'll get to those.
Yeah, we'll get to those. So yeah, but as you make your way down, you go through the normal grind of going through as many Covenant as you can quickly, and just getting to your evac zone as quickly as possible. Just be careful as you make your way down there, because the open area with the kind of the rock mounds before you get to the open planar place that you get picked up, there's going to be some elites at that entrance, so you just got to make sure that you take them out strategically and not just rush all the way down.
As always, what I do on this map, I usually pick jetpack and I go fly up on one of the higher rocks and kind of use that as a point to snipe. Even if it's not a sniper if I'm using the DMR, it's easy to pick them off, and they usually can't shoot back at you, and they tend not to throw grenades at you either. So it makes it a lot easier. Instead of staying right on the ground at the same level they are, get higher up, take that high ground.
I love my DMR.
Oh, yeah.
DMR is my weapon of choice for precision weapons.
Certainly. Both in War Games and in Spartan Ops.
Oh, yeah. Campaign, it's not as big of a standout as it is just because of the weapons that are available.
Yeah.
But it's useful. It's very, very useful.
Definitely.
So as you make it to your extraction zone, after you go through the waves of Covenant that are standing between you and going home, Spartan Dalton hops on the radio and says, "Hey, figured out why Miller hasn't been able to track all the Covenant. It's because there's this jammer that's over here."
And that leads us to our next mission.
Does it? Because there's really no mention of a jammer in this next mission. Because I was reading through my guide that I put out, and you guys have hopefully already read through it. If you're listening to this, you've hopefully seen it. But there's nothing in there that really mentions a jammer for the next episode. I mean, I know that Dalton says that it's close to Crimson, but looking back through it, we never really address it.
In the next mission, no, yeah. Yeah.
So I'm assuming this is just one of those story elements where, yeah, we recognize that's there, and I'm guessing one of the other Spartan teams on Infinity went to go take it out.
Well, we did take out the comms arrays in this mission.
No, we accessed them.
Well, accessed them.
So
I think we get to that later on.
Not in this chapter.
No, yeah, not in this chapter, no.
But, I mean, after this chapter, Miller doesn't have a problem seeing the Covenant come in anymore, so I'm guessing that it was addressed by another team.
Going back through my notes, and I'm trying to figure that out.
Because the next chapter is where we're tracking down Jul and him gathering troops together. It's not about a jammer.
Well, I guess once you've activated the comms array, you're not jammed anymore.
Well, no, because there's that last one. That's when Palmer yells at Miller. It's like, why aren't you tracking these? And that's after you access the comm array. So I'm guessing some other Spartan team went to go get it.
Well, this is going to need some further investigation. We'll get back to you on that.
Did I just give you work?
Yes, you did. Damn you. No, that's all right.
Sorry.
That's okay. Let me quickly give a quick rundown on the enemies here.
Yes.
Really, it's not too remarkable other than you've got plenty of grunts and grunt imperials. Grunts are 39, grunt imperials are 25. Everything beyond that's pretty low numbers. So this is one of those missions that, unless you need grunt kills, I don't know how much you would replay it. It's a fairly straightforward mission. It's a little repetitive in how it's played. I happen to like this particular map, so I do enjoy playing it. But enemy-wise, it's not really a good one for commendations.
Yeah, it's not one I would replay that often. Because there's only so much you could do with that map.
Right.
I think they exhausted all they could do with it.
Yeah, and I think that might be the last time we see it, too.
It is.
Yeah.
We don't see it again in Season 1.
Unless they're coming up in the next 2 episodes, which I don't think is going to happen.
No, they won't, because those are all new maps. Nothing's being replayed in episodes 6 through 10.
That's right.
So, all right. Cool. Chapter 1, done. Chapter 2, Rally Point. Information from the comm network. Tap. Hassel. I think I wrote that down wrong. Oh, no, never mind. I misread it. Information from the comm network tap has led to the possible location of Jul Mdama. This map is on Two Giants, a.k.a. Ragnarok. And the objective... Huh?
So, formerly Valhalla, sorry.
Formerly Valhalla. The objective, find and eliminate the Covenant leader.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. This is chapter 2, people. I don't think we'll be quite as successful. But what's going on here is fireteams Crimson and Majestic are being deployed to 2 similar structures where Jul Mdama is supposed to be gathering Promethean and Covenant troops to kind of get him on his side for his cause. And what you get dropped into is what's Ragnarok, the 2 towers. You're dropped into pretty much the middle of the map.
Closer to the waterfall side, though.
Right. So there's going to be a bunch of Prometheans there. There's knights, there's watchers, there's crawlers, there's a pair of Promethean turrets that you just need to go around and shoot off. And it's believed that Jul is actually at your site. But as you start to make your way towards the waterfront tower, Miller reports that there's an energy spike signature similar to that of one of the slipspace portals, and you're supposed to be going in there and trying to take him out before he escapes. But of course, you know, he gets away, and after all the Prometheans are gone, after you kill them all, it seems that all the equipment there is dead. And then at the same time you take out all the Prometheans there, you get a radio call in from Fireteam Majestic saying that all the Covenant that they were fighting just seemed to vanish.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder where they went.
Now, before we get any further in this one, there's a few warthogs here that I definitely would suggest that you grab. And, if you're playing co-op, this is a good opportunity to get some wheelmen in if you haven't worked on that commendation.
That, and if you're just going for kills, you can have, if you're doing solo, you can just have one of the Marines hop in your turret.
Absolutely.
And all the kills that he gets will count for your kills.
That's right. Not the passenger one, though. Make sure you don't have any passenger Marines, but your gunner Marine will definitely count for those kills. So this is a fun one, I think, to do for vehicles. You just have to do some driving. And actually, it's a good thing if you're not used to driving the Warthog. This is a good mission to practice, driving the Warthog with a gunner, even if it is an AI.
Can you get a road trip in Spartan Ops?
Um,
Has anyone tried?
I don't recall, but I think I saw. Oh no, that wasn't Spartan Ops. That was matchmaking. Yeah, I don't think you can unless you have both. Unless you have other players with you.
Well, yeah, it'd have to be other players, but I'm wondering if you get 3 people.
I'm not sure. Wow. Well, there's another thing. Thanks a lot. Now there's another.
I'm just full of giving you tasks for this episode, aren't I?
All right, I'll have to check that one out. I know you can do it. I know you can do something strange in war games where you can actually have an enemy as your passenger, and if you get the right kills, you can still get the road trip as well. But I don't know about AI, so yeah, I'll check that.
Well, I'm pretty sure the AIs don't work because I know I've played through with AIs and I've gotten splatters, and it definitely doesn't give you the road trip medal. But I'm wondering for if you have 3 people on co-op, if you stuff everyone in one warthog, if it actually gives it to you.
Yeah.
So that's something
we're gonna have to try that. We're gonna have to try that.
I just thought of that now. I'm like, I never really thought of that. Anyway, so after both sites have been cleared and everything seems offline, Spartan Grant from Fireteam Majestic comes on the radio and says her theories about the whole thing and that they actually use the slipspace network to teleport away from where they were. And of course, Spartan Miller kind of goes along the same notion and agrees that that's what's going on here.
What's cool is we finally learn the first name of Grant. We learned
Tedra
Grant.
Yeah.
So now we know 3 of the Spartan Majestic team's names. We know Paul DeMarco, Gabriel Thorne, and Tedra Grant.
Right, we're still missing
Hoya and Madsen.
Yes. So maybe we'll get those. Maybe at some point.
I hope so.
But yeah, so Spartan Grant theorizes the whole teleportation thing, and it turns out that the coordinates that they used were still resident in the systems at their tower, even though everything was pretty much shot to hell and was unusable. But they're able to extrapolate the coordinates, send it up to infinity, and then it's Crimson's task now to go to the other tower that's in their canyon and see if there's another working portal activator / gate there for them to use. Stargate. Sorry.
It's all right.
Big Stargate fan.
Oh, no, me too. Hey, what's cool at this point, too, and I've done this with friends. I'm not sure. I might have done this with you, too. If you've got a working warthog, after you activate it and wait for the porthole to come open, get a warthog prepped right there on that point where there's normally a man cannon in war games. And as soon as that appears, it'll shoot you and anybody else with you in the Warthog up to that porthole. Unfortunately, it doesn't bring the Warthog with you in the next mission, but it's still kind of fun. And you hear this big slam right into the structure of where the portal is at. Yeah,
just because the Warthog is not really designed to fit in there.
Right.
Although it could, it would be interesting because right now we haven't seen any actions from previous episodes affect any outcome in any of the episodes. Afterwards, it would be nice to see that take place.
Right, it would be it's just something continuing. That'd be kind of cool.
I mean, not like you could really use the Warthog on that level, but
right.
If you're able to take it through, I mean,
it would be kind of cool though.
Yeah, you get like 3 splatters the instant you come out of that portal.
Oh, definitely. And the thing is, what you come out at what you're seeing when you come out, you might want to actually kill some of those things with the Warthog, because leading into the next mission, you're faced against some nasty customers at the beginning here in chapter 3.
If there was theater, I could see that totally being clips people would put up.
Oh yeah,
trying to see how many splatters they could get at once they came out of the portal.
Before we get into chapter 3, let's get the enemy count here.
Well, there's still some things we haven't even got to. We just skipped from that tower and went to the other one.
Oh, really? Oh, okay. Yeah.
So as you make your way over, there's going to be a few phantoms that come in and drop forces. There is one of them that drops a wraith, so you need to watch out for that. If you haven't grabbed one of the warthogs by now, definitely get in there because there's quite a few phantoms that come in, and there's Covenant and Knights and Prometheans that are guarding the other tower.
That's right.
So you just gotta go and clear out the forces. So it's nothing too difficult or complex, but once you start to get over there, once you hit the halfway point like that hill, that's where you're going to see a lot of the enemies start to drop. But just keep an eye out on the Wraith. I think there's just one Wraith that drops, so you don't have to worry. Oh, I'm sorry, no, there's two Wraiths, actually. Reading through my notes now. Once you clear up the tower for the first time, you're kind of asked to go see if there's stuff there, and then another wave comes in, and that's when the second Wraith drops. So once you take out all the Prometheans and Covenants there, including the Wraiths, then you can go and activate the 2 control terminals for the portal gate that's at the Canyon Tower. And Infinity will send you down the coordinates to put in there. And then you can do the thing that we mentioned about putting the Warthog in there. And then hit the man cannon to go into the portal and then onto your next mission.
There we go. Yeah, I did get ahead of myself. Apologies there.
It's all right. That's why there's 2 of us instead of 1.
Again, as far as enemies go, this mission is another one that's not remarkable for anyone in particular except for regular crawlers. It has 35 of those. There are other missions that have more than this one. But again, if you want to work on your wheelman commendation, or you just want to get the easy kills and let the AIs do it, this is a good one to do. And you've got a lot of crawlers that you can get kills for. Other than that, there really isn't much else that's worth noting for the specific enemies in the kill counts.
Cool. This chapter is also the one that has the RVB Easter egg. So to activate this one, as soon as you spawn, look towards the waterfront tower. Up when you start to look all the way up, the portion on the right, the very topmost on that right part, that's where the box is. So once you it's not too hard to spot, especially if you have a precision weapon like a DMR or a BR. So you just aim up there, shoot it once, and then when everything is dead silent and you're waiting for, or during the discussion normally where you would have Fireteam Majestic and Grant explaining what happened or what she theorized happened to the Covenant at their site, that's when you'll hear Vic come on the radio. And if you guys know who Vic is, he's the one that's usually up in the command ship talking down to both the red and the blue teams. And he's talking to Palmer about like how great of a time that they had last night and trying to hook up with her again. So It's just really funny. So that's the RVB Easter egg for this one. I hear a dice.
No, it was a little wheel off of a little Mega Bloks thing. Sorry.
Ah, playing with your toys, I see.
I was making a rolling save there. Yeah. For you old D&D type of fans, you know. Anyway.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm kind of dating myself on that one,
huh? I've only played D&D once.
Yeah, I can't tell you the last time I did that, and I don't even want to go into that discussion.
All right, we'll keep on talking about Halo then.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay, so Chapter 3 for this episode is called Random Transport. And during your previous op, Fireteam Crimson stepped through a portal. Current whereabouts unknown. So I'm a little curious. I guess the coordinates that they use for the portal network doesn't correspond to any kind of actual global positioning coordinate system of Requiem. I guess it's just maybe... now I'm pulling a Stargate analogy back out of my head. But I guess it's just like a certain quote-unquote number, or I guess serial number of a gate that they're trying to activate, maybe?
Sounds good to me.
As a quote-unquote coordinate?
Yeah, that could be. I don't think that's really ever explained, right?
No, I don't think it is. Because all the other portal gates that we've seen is They have gates corresponded to them. Okay, so this is interesting. I'm kind of diverging here a little bit. So the coordinate system or the transport system, I'm guessing that they use on Halo, wouldn't it be similar to this?
You'd think.
Because the one Cortana access back in Halo 1, there wasn't a gate that she had to use. And the one that Guilty Spark used, they just teleported wherever they wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
So what's so specific about these portals that have to actually have gates associated with them?
Oh, God, you're giving me more work.
Sorry.
Yeah.
This is what happens when my brain is firing on full cylinders in midday and not at night at 10 o'clock at night.
I hope you're taking notes on the things you want me to look up, because I've already forgotten. No. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe Requiem is just so much bigger. You'd think it would use the same system, but I don't know. I mean, Requiem, I think, is more advanced, I guess. Is that the right word? But
if it was more advanced, that means you'd be able to teleport basically anywhere.
Yeah.
Just a random note. Anyways, so the map is on Fortress, and your objective, situation developing. So really no objective for now. So Crimson is thrown out of this portal into a mix of Covenant enemies, just right in smack dab of the middle of elites, grunts, jackals, you name it.
And let me interject here real quick. This mission, before you start it, I personally suggest using the jetpack for a number of reasons. One, Fortress having that large tower in the center, it's always good to get up there and shoot from the high ground. But as well, when you start this mission out and you come through that portal, if you don't have the jetpack and start firing that as soon as you get through, you're going to get severely hurt just from the landing itself. And if you're playing this on Legendary, there are snipers abounding on this map, as well as several other Covenant, that you could easily die within the first few seconds of this mission without even getting a shot off. So give yourself that additional leeway there by giving yourself the jetpack. As soon as you won't be able to fire it immediately, but keep your button on, or your finger on the button to fire the jetpack, because it will slow you down and it will get you a little further away from the action, so you're not getting sniped and killed immediately or hurt from the fall.
Right. Not to say that you're going to instantly die when you get out there, but having the jetpack increases your chances of survival.
Yes.
Because you're actually dumped into a little alleyway where a sniper jackal is looking directly at you.
Yeah.
And thankfully, and this has happened in past games, if there's a jackal in that situation, they usually will shoot you once and will only get a body shot. They won't get a headshot on you. But still, if they get that on you, then you have to run around and you're basically hiding, trying to figure out where the next enemy is coming from and how to best survive.
And there's enough enemies in that area that you can get taken out easily. So, yeah, that's just my recommendations. Jetpack, immediately get out of the way. And get that, if you can take that jackal out too, that's, it's highly suggested take him out right away.
Yeah, because headshots on those guys are easy.
Yeah.
Really easy. So, you're fighting for your life for the time being until Infinity can figure out what the heck is going on where you've landed, because although you can still kind of hear the radio chatter coming in, they don't know exactly where you are. But it doesn't take long for Roland to figure out where you've landed. So they actually identify some comm gear for you to go activate to help kind of clear up transmissions and to kind of reestablish solid communication and data flow between like your suit and Infinity for all that good stuff. So once you are given the waypoint for the comm gear, you basically just go run over and activate it. And luckily, there's a rocket launcher right by too that you can go pick up.
Oh yes.
So that's really helpful for this part.
Especially for the hunters.
Yeah. But before we get there, all the enemies that are at that first location, just kind of don't run away too far because they'll follow you and it just kind of makes more hassle for you later if you're just running around. Mm-hmm. But kind of stick to the same area, kind of poke your head out, take out a cluster of enemies as you can, and then when the waypoint comes out, I wouldn't say immediately go over there, but based on how many enemies are left, take your time. It's not like you have to rush to get over there.
Right.
But once you feel like there's a manageable amount of content left, then go over, activate the comm equipment, pick up the rocket launcher, and I believe there's a shotgun and some more BR ammo there that you can pick up. And then go and clear out the rest of the Covenant that are remaining there, and then the ones that are going to eventually drop in.
You mentioned about the BR too. Let me reiterate this. I think I've said this before in previous casts, that the BR is really a very good weapon to use against jackals. You've got the ones that have the shields, because they have such that small area that you can get them. You've got that 3-shot burst then that's still a fairly, it's a precision weapon. So all you need is just one to get through there. If anything, just to knock them back, to get the shield out of the way, and then you can take them out on another shot. AR is just going to mostly, hit that shield, and you're not going to get a good shot. And DMR, you have to be precise within that little small area. So, a BR for me is the choice of weapon against jackals.
I think that's a good one. Good assessment of that. I don't know if you've said it on here specifically before, but yeah, that's a good point to bring up. So after you activate the comm equipment, communications are firmly reestablished with Infinity, and you can go about now following Jul again. So I think this is immediately, not immediately afterwards, but after some amount of fighting with a couple of drop ships that come down and drop Covenant, Roland comes on and he says, I'm bored. Obviously, he has something to say if he's coming in just saying, I'm bored. Yeah. I mean, what else would an AI just come in and randomly just drop in a nonsensical line like that for no reason?
I like his character. I don't know about you, but I really enjoy his character.
There's a certain aspect of Roland that just kind of hits me the wrong way because, so when you think of an AI, you think of he should be smart, but he doesn't act like a smart AI.
Well, yeah, he acts different. I think he could be the next iteration of AIs. Cortana is completely separate from any other AI, being that she was made from living tissue. But I
she's
think
the top class.
Yeah, I think Roland is the next iteration from the other regular smart AIs. So, it's kind of funny, sometimes he takes a whimsical attitude towards things. He seems genuinely, excited about being able to get in the midst of the Spartan Ops missions, not necessarily battling, but you know what I mean, from his point of view. So it is funny, I think, when he says I'm bored, but then when he finally gets to interact here in this mission, it's exciting for him. So it's kind of funny to see, or hear that, no, that wasn't dice again. It's funny to hear an AI that would get excited, So
it just doesn't fit the role of an AI to me. But it feels off. I mean, I get what they're doing with it, and I'm not totally opposed to it, but it just feels weird.
Well, it's maybe that they're getting closer. They're getting more humanity about them, possibly. They're evolving as well. Our technology has increased in the last few years in the Halo universe that, we can infuse more humanity into them. Other than, again, keeping Cortana completely separate because she's very unique.
Well, I would think based on reading some of the books, the more human an AI is, the quote unquote less efficient and the more signs of rampancy that indicates.
Could be, but again, we are advancing technology here, so maybe they've found a way to overcome some of that in the last 4 years, from Halo 3 to now. And of course, we see more going on with Roland in later missions.
Right.
Especially in the last mission that just come out, which of course we'll get to.
I guess so.
I've accepted him. I like him.
Okay.
Anyway.
I mean, he's a fine character in the whole thing. It strikes me kind of odd for an AI character. Some of the stuff that he does.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Okay.
I agree with it, but I'm not opposed to it. I actually like his little displays of humanity.
All right.
Go ahead.
So he hops on the radio and basically starts to, or tries to make fun of Miller, saying that the towers that Miller's actually talking about is actual like conduits for the portal system, and he phrases it in such a way where it's like, Miller's so stupid. but then Miller's response is like, okay, you're a smart AI, I get that. Just where is it? So he's really trying to play off what Roland just kind of humiliated him for.
That's another reason why I like him, because he put Miller in his place.
Yeah, props to Miller for not like reacting negatively though.
This is true. Yeah.
So, Roland says that he knows how to activate them, and he's like, oh, can I put on the waypoint for Crimson? And of course, Palmer comes in and is like, there's protocols, dude. Let Miller do his job.
And that's right after Miller says go ahead, and she's like, protocol, Miller.
Yeah. And then so he's like, yay, waypoint lit up. And then afterwards he's like, okay, now I'm bored again. And then the waypoint comes up and it's at the top of the tower, and then you go activate and all that good stuff. So it's some interesting dialogue that's going on between some of the other characters on Infinity while you're playing through this whole mission.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's what I like about Spartan Ops, is you get more than just, okay, go here, do this. You're getting more and more interaction with the secondary characters outside of Crimson and even Majestic. And this only increases as we go further in the season, so you're getting a nice little glimpse of it here.
Right. So as you make your way to the top of the tower, that's where the activator for the whole array in the area is. So you jetpack up there or run up the ramps, hit the switch, and then it reveals that there's two different controls that could have influenced where Jul went. So after activating that top one, you can go down to either side. It doesn't matter which one you pick first, because it's actually random which one is the correct one. So you jump down to either side, and of course when you get there, Prometheans start to spawn, or no, not Prometheans, Covenants start to
drop,
and they drop right on top of you as you get there, and it's kind of a futile effort to go and activate the switch and ignore them. So they've made that in such a way where you have to address the Covenant that are dropped before you can go and activate either one of the control switches.
Mm-hmm.
So after you take care of those, go up to one of the switches, and after a little time, Miller will come back and say whether it was the right one or not. I've only actually hit it once where it said it wasn't the right one. I don't know how I've gotten that lucky, and I've played this mission probably about 5 times.
I think every time I've done it, it's been the wrong one.
Really?
It seems like it.
So if you manage to get the right one the first time, you don't have to worry about the other side full of Covenant. But if you do hit the wrong one first, you have to go all the way over, face another drop of Covenant, and activate that switch as well. So it's kind of random of which one is going to be. You really don't know. There's no indication during the mission that will tell you which one it actually is. So hope you get it right the first time, and that way you can just jet back up or run back up the ramps to the top and then jump through the portal. You don't have to kill the rest of the Covenant here either before moving on as well, but that's just because you jump it by going through the portal.
Yeah, that is of course, unless you're looking to work on commendations. Then
that's true.
Go and hit the other button, get all the other Covenant, get some more kills.
Well, if you get the right button the first time, you can't go and hit the other button anyways. You can go over there. The Covenant will still be there if you want to walk around, but
yeah, that's weird. Like I said, I guess I've gotten it wrong every time then, because it seems like I always get the choice to get to the second one.
I mean, I think the one time I got it wrong was with you.
Well, that would make sense. We're at the
Interesting.
End of the chapter, yeah. End of the chapter. We've jumped through the portal.
Yes.
Okay. So on the enemy count, you do have, this one is the best for grunt ultras, but it's only 8. But that is the highest amount that you get for grunt ultras, and then for jackal majors, there's 18, which again, that's the highest amount that you get for any missions from episodes 1 through 5. I haven't worked on 6, 7, and 8 yet, but I'll get that. I'll get that going. But anyways, for the first half of the season, this is definitely the mission to pick if you're trying to get jackal majors and that commendation up. Other than that, and the grunt ultras, there's nothing else remarkable for enemy kill counts.
So one thing to note while we're on the enemies stuff is the majority of the ones that get dropped whenever you go and hit the switches for the control towers, those are mostly sword elites, which is why you have to be careful of when you actually go up and hit the switch. About half of those, if not a good majority of those, are sword bearing. So you're pretty much screwed. You're constantly backing up while you're trying to take these elites out.
That's why it's important to have that jetpack, because they won't jetpack after you. Get the jetpack, hit the switch, and get the hell out of there.
Yeah, it's funny to be running backwards and then jetpacking all of a sudden. You're just outside of their range, and then they just stand there while you shoot them.
They're looking up at you like, damn.
I wish I had a jetpack now. Yeah, so make sure that you take care when you're going and activating those towers, because you will die.
Definitely.
All right, next chapter. Chapter 4, The Chase. Jul Mdama continues to flee through Requiem's portal system. Fireteam Crimson is diving chase? What the hell did I write there?
Space.
Giving. Typo. Wow. Okay. And that was in the version I released. That was the first typo I found that after going through it.
Now I've given you work.
Oh, I just fixed it, so work complete.
Oh, bastard.
All right, this is on the map, the Cauldron, and your objective, chase Jul Mdama. Seems simple enough, right?
Yeah, maybe this time we'll get him.
Maybe. Chapter 4, it's near the very end. We may get him.
Not.
Well, way to spoil it. Yeah, so, of course, Jul gets away, but let's progress through on how Jul gets away, shall we?
We shall.
So, you get dropped off near the artifact site, so we've been here quite a few times before, and you're just chasing after him as quickly as you can. So the first area that you come on is just, you're being blocked by the doors on the bridge. So there's a bunch coming around there, you just gotta take them out, and then, for some reason, it takes a while for Spartan Miller to find the door controls. It seems like he's being distracted by something else. Do we have any idea of what? I never really kind of thought about... Because, so, whenever you're fighting the Covenant around, they're usually kind of on the top part, right before the doors.
Yeah.
And you hear him kind of stumbling through his words, and Palmer's like, Miller, get on it. And after a little while, he finally figures out where the door controls are. So it seems like he's either frustrated, or he's distracted, or...
I think he tapped into Palmer's secret camera in her room and found Lasky in her. But that's me.
No, but seriously. That would be funny.
Have a little levity.
Yeah. So I don't know if that's something that just they threw in there as part of the story, because I don't think they expanded on that in this mission that much.
I don't know. I think he needs some more training. That's all I know. He's, as much as you say, Roland isn't, like the typical AI. I think that, and more so with Miller with regards to him being a Spartan. Oh, he's just so atypical of being a Spartan.
Yeah, he's a little dumb in the head sometimes.
Yeah, and they're supposed to be the best and brightest.
No, I agree. But he's your team leader anyway, so what can you do?
Yeah. Well,
maybe
he's the handler. He's the handler.
Well, okay, yeah, sorry. Handler.
Yeah, that's all right.
Close. No, it's different, but close. So after he reveals where the two switches are, one of them's over to the right, over where the weapon crates usually are whenever you play on this map. That small little tower that's over there. And then another one, of course, is underneath the bridge. And as you get to those two locations, if you're going to the right one first, you have a drop pod, drop off enemies around there. And you can get in and out pretty quickly if you immediately go over there, or if you're waiting to activate the switch when Miller announces that he's found the two. But if you get there a little bit after that, then you're gonna have to face a good group of grunts and jackals. I don't think there are any elites that are over there that I recall. The switch that's underneath the bridge, however, there's plenty of grunts that are walking around there.
Mm-hmm.
So you just go around to one of the sides where you can jump up and over the kind of the quote-unquote railings of the bridge and just drop down, activate the switch, and then come back up. And once you get to the other side, this is probably one of the biggest bottlenecks I think I've played in Spartan Ops, is this right here.
Definitely.
So once you cross the bridge doors, you're going to be faced with a wave of Prometheans. You'll have some watchers that are there, and they'll instantly start to spawn Promethean turrets.
Mm-hmm.
If you're playing co-op, it is possible to take out the watchers before they spawn the turrets.
Definitely is.
But they will spawn turrets on either side. So if you're doing single player, you can take out one of them, but the other side is still going to be there.
Mm-hmm.
Although, the turrets I actually don't find too difficult.
Yeah, and they're fairly
Spartan
easy
Ops.
to hide from, too.
Yeah, because you just duck over and then they stop charging, and then you duck out, you start shooting in, and it's just kind of back and forth.
There is a battle wagon knight, though, that you'll have to contend with, so, you know...
There's a few knights.
You sure?
Yeah. There's I want to say at least 2 or 3.
Okay.
So I think that's actually kind of triggered on how far up you get. So if you get to near the top of the ramp from the bridge doors quickly, then you don't have to face as many Prometheans as if you stay back, I think.
Maybe that's
or
why
maybe that might also be a part of the Watcher spawning in Prometheans. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I know there's plenty of crawlers that you have to fight.
Wait. On this one?
Think so.
No, not this mission.
Really?
Yeah, no, not this mission.
Okay.
Yeah, it's all knights and a few watchers.
All right.
Of course, no crawlers in this mission.
Okay.
That one maybe I can get to you.
Maybe I'm confusing it with something else then.
Yeah.
Which is possible. I mean, it's such a flurry of enemies coming in because you have a mix of knights and elites running at you.
Yeah.
So, all right. No crawlers then. After you take out the knights and after you start to peek over, then you'll have the elites start coming toward you, and there's plenty of them with swords.
Mm-hmm.
So watch out as they charge you. I believe one of the knights that attacks you has a scatter shot, so you can pick that up.
Yeah.
And use that against the elites. Just kind of sit there and wait for them to charge you stupidly. Because shotgun beats sword.
Yeah, they're not so elite sometimes, you know? I don't know why they call them elites.
Well, the next part they certainly are.
Yes, definitely the next part. This whole area here is just, you know, I say take it slowly. You know, don't try and go guns blazing because
you have to take it slowly.
Yeah, there's just, for one, the number of enemies that you face is pretty good. But then, even though you have the high ground, man, they just seem to be really accurate. And not to mention, you've got to deal with fuel rods as well. You know, fuel rods, concussion rifles, and those are the kinds of things that they'll hurt you, bounce you back, and make you open to the other fire from the other enemies.
Yeah, they'll expose you pretty quickly. So to stage this is right after you clear out the enemies left on the bridge, and there is one of the plasma turrets. Is it a shade turret or is it just a plasma cannon? I think it's just a plasma turret. I don't think it's a shade turret. But after you clear out that little area on the bridge, then you peek over towards the cave system, and you just see this field of jackals. It's literally a field of jackals.
And some grunts. And a few elites.
Well, the grunts are kind of walking up behind one of the rocks, and the elites are over to one side. But the main thing you see is just shields everywhere. So I like to call this place the Field of Jackals.
There we go.
Yeah.
There is a convenient weapons crate before you peek over that you can replenish your ammo, and I highly suggest staying fairly close to that because you're going to need a lot of ammo for this section here.
Especially if you're playing single player, but definitely if you're playing co-op, because oh my gosh, there's a lot of enemies that come up in this part.
Yeah, and of course the level of difficulty is going to dictate, how many rounds it takes to kill your enemies too. So the harder, the difficulty, then the more ammo it's going to take. So, don't veer off too far from that ammo crate, so you give yourself a better chance to take them out quicker without running out of ammo.
Do you have the number specifically for how many sword elites and jackals are in this area? Specifically?
No, not in this area. For jackals, though, I've got the count at 16, and most of them are right there. For elite officers, the total I have is 11, and I imagine most of those are in this general area as well. So
that's quite a few elites for this onslaught.
That's just the officers. There's at least another 10 more of varying degrees.
Mm-hmm.
Regular elite zealots, and there's a general in there somewhere too.
So the real kicker about this part is the elites with swords will actually come charge up the ramps to you.
Yes.
That's the killer part of this section right here. It's not that they just hang back and it just takes a while to take out their shields or anything. No. They will come and charge you.
Yeah.
That's
and
the thing
is, even if you got a scatter shot or something like that, you've got all these other enemies coming at you too, shooting at you. So these particular sword elites are a real threat.
Yeah. And they're a pain to kill sometimes too, especially if you're doing a legendary.
Oh yes.
Be careful when you're at this area.
Mm-hmm.
Take out the jackals first, just because they're easy to take out. Keeping watch for any elites that decide to come and rush you. And as you make your way down the ramps, be careful that there's no elites hiding in the corners, because with the stupid AI scripting, sometimes they'll just run into the corners instead of running up the ramp.
Mm-hmm.
So make sure there's no elites sitting in those corners as you go down. And it's highly advised that you take out everything you can here before moving on. Except if there's a couple of jackals or grunts left over, that's fine. You can run past those pretty easily without too much of an issue. But if there's any elites left over, you're asking for trouble.
Yes.
So be careful with that part. After you do get everything taken care of there, you're asked to keep on following Jul, and actually during the whole exchange between the Covenant here and you just trying to survive, Spartan Palmer asked Dalton for some ordnance to take control of from Infinity for some precision weapon strikes. So once you get to the tunnel system, this is where that kicks in. So you have this big bombardment from Infinity just raining down on this area. And somehow Jul manages to slip through that giant explosion.
He's so slippery.
I know, right? Slippery bastard. So another thing to note here is that if you run into it, you will die.
Oh, yeah.
So it's a good idea to stay back while that's happening, because I've just run through. Someone said once that, no, you don't die if you run into it. You're invincible. No, you die.
Yeah, I think I said that.
Yeah, I think you did.
And you went in and died.
Yeah, I died. It's like, so much for that. No, you can get close to the explosion and not die, but if you're within a considerable range of where the impact is,
yeah,
you're going to die. I mean, it's a freaking airstrike. You take the ordnance fire from Reach. It's essentially the same thing. It's just this
right. It's
mass.
like using a target locator.
Yeah.
Yep.
So don't rush that part, because there are elites that are actually running through there, and I think one of the reasons why people die is because they're trying to go and get assassinations on those elites. They'll die from the explosions or I think they're probably just Mac rounds, so they'll die from what happens there. But you'll die too if you decide to go after them.
Yeah.
So be careful. after Jul decides to kind of slip away, it's detected that he's used a slipspace portal to leave the area again, and you get to the platform at the top of the lava flows of where Jul escaped, where you've been there plenty of times before. It's where you started at on episode 1, chapter 5, that kind of flat area there. And you're faced with 3 waves of 3 different Prometheans. So they'll range from Promethean Knights, sorry.
Knights, battle wagons, and the commander in there, plus plenty of watchers.
Right. So, and they have weapons ranging from suppressors to incineration cannons to binary rifles to scatter shots.
Yeah.
I think every type of Promethean weapon except the bolt shot is used by one of those knights.
Right. Now, here's the thing to keep in mind, too. If you allow the watchers to stay alive, they will regenerate the knights. So if you're looking to, boost up your commanders at all, it might be possible if you leave the watchers alive to let them regenerate. There are better missions for it.
I think I'm crazy enough to let them respawn it after I took so much time to take it out.
Well, I'm just throwing it out there.
Okay.
I've done it. I've let the watchers live to get more night kills. Just because that's one of the commendations I'm really trying to work on. So, instead of going through and having to replay missions all over again, you let the watchers just respawn them right away, and you get more kills.
Fair enough.
That's just another way to play Spartan Ops,
That's true. Yeah, if you're, definitely after you go through the story bit of it, and if you're just going for the commendations.
Yeah.
Yeah. After you take out all the Prometheans there, you walk up into the kind of room that's back there, and you find an artifact that Jul left behind, which turns out to be what people have been calling the Didact's gift.
Mm-hmm.
So Spartan Palmer orders you not to touch it, although how do you get it to the next part? So get this. Spartan Palmer basically tells the Spartans not to touch it. She contacts Galileo Base and we're bringing something to you that we want to get checked out before we bring it back to Infinity, before it wreaks any havoc like this other artifact has done. Yet you're taking it to the next place. How do you take it to the next place without touching it?
You have to touch it.
Yeah. So a little counterintuitive there on the what's actually said versus what's actually done in canon for that. But anyways, one of those little one-off things I think they didn't quite think through before they put it out. So what are the enemy counts for this one?
Well, again, let's see. Grunts, you got 39 regular ones, 22 Imperials, so it's pretty good for those. Like I said, the Jackals were 16. Not too much in the way of knights, other than that commander, because commanders are just so few and far between to come by. That's where I say, when you get any chance to get them to respawn, if you're working on that commendation, this is one opportunity to do so. But really, other than that, and there is, like I said, the elite officers, other than that, there really isn't anything highly remarkable on this level. It just seems like, at least in that one area that you're bottlenecked, that there's a lot more enemies, but they're so diversified that there's nothing in one particular that you would want to replay this mission over and over again to work on commendations.
Okay. Very nice. Last chapter for this episode is Chapter 5, The Didact's Gift. Although Mdama escaped, the Didact's Gift was successfully retrieved and is being held at Galileo Base. This is on the map Galileo Base, aka Complex, and your objective, keep Galileo Base secure.
Yes.
Yes.
I like this mission. Just the way it unfolds and the waves of enemies that you have to come across, which of course we'll get into, but this is one mission that I like to replay.
This is kind of like one of the more classic firefight experiences where you're just holding an area. You're not moving around too much. You're not progressing through a certain path. You're just kind of sitting there, and there's a few things that you need to put up in order to kind of progress through the sequence of events. But other than that, you're just there fighting off whatever comes at you.
Right. Yeah, this is definitely
one of the more classic firefight feels. And that's probably why I like it so much, is because, you know, it has the elements of wave after wave after wave of enemies.
Do the wave, dude.
I did it. Did you do it?
I did.
That was a weird moment.
Yeah, awkward moment.
I don't know. It just reminded me of that one commercial. I don't know if you've seen that one commercial. It's for a phone company, and the two guys are talking. And one's the customer service one. He's like, high five through the phone. And the other one's like, yeah, I did it. I really did it. Did you do it? And he's like, yeah, I did it. I totally did it.
Let me guess. Neither of them did it.
No, they both did it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
That's why I said it.
Got it. Moving on.
Yes.
So the little sequence here that we have at the beginning is we have a picture on the artifact as it's being scanned and everything. And we have Spartan Miller report that, oh, well, Galileo base is about to become under attack. Great. Fantastic. So Fireteam Majestic has already been scrambled to come pick up the artifact since Galileo base has done all of its prep stuff. And it's like, okay, it's safe to go up to infinity now. Or at least I guess that's what they did. But the Covenant have figured out where the artifact has been taken, and they are kind of upset with the whole thing, of course. So they will attack in waves, and at this point, like Sal said, it's just a firefight thing. And after a little while, Spartan Palmer will notice that the base defenses are offline, and several waves later, she radios Miller's like, why isn't the defenses kicking in? And he's like, unknown. And then after more waves, Palmer finally radios Dr. Alexander, who's, I guess, the lead scientist at the base. And it's like, something's wrong with your defenses. They're not turning on.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, I like how she says that.
They're not working. They are?
Really? No, they're not?
How could you not notice this?
I'm sorry, Dr. Owen. Sorry, not Dr. Alexander. Yeah. Dr. Owen. My bad.
I just don't get how they, you can hear the fighting outside. You can't tell me you didn't understand that your missile launchers aren't working? Really?
Well, they're scientists. I mean, they've probably never shot a rifle in their lives.
Yeah, but come on, man. You're that close to a freaking, array of missile launchers that you can't. Oh, no, I'm sorry, man. You should be able to, you should know the difference. Scientist or no. You're not miles away. You're just, a few hundred feet away. You can hear those. I don't know.
Well, no, she might be embedded in one of the buildings or something. Just knows that there's fighting going on and hears the occasional explosion of something blowing up, whether it's the missiles or not.
That's right. She's got her headset in and she's listening to iTunes. I forgot.
Do they have iTunes in 25?
Probably.
57?
Probably. Or UNSC tunes? I don't know.
Oh my goodness. So after a little while, so Palmer contacts Dr. Owen and she starts rambling about how one of the other doctors was planning on diverting the power from the defenses to a mini reactor that he's running, but she told him not to.
Stupid eggheads.
The dialogue for Dr. Owen in here is just really, really comical.
It is.
I can't help it. It's just the way they did her for this part was just really. It's
a little bit ridiculous, but to be honest with you, I actually I enjoyed it because it was funny. Sometimes I don't want to always be serious when I'm gaming. I just, and this mission definitely it has its good seriousness in the firefight aspect of it, but the dialogue makes it fun. So it kind of breaks up. The serious part of the fighting with the fun part of the dialogue. So, you get a nice mix there, I think.
Fair enough.
That's how it works for me.
Okay. I can see that, yeah. So after this whole interaction between Palmer and Owen goes about, you're given the waypoint to go and redivert the power from the mini reactor that's been running back to the defenses. And of course, all the missile turrets come up and shoot out all the phantoms that are in the area, and you have to mop up the rest of the Covenant that are on the ground, and that's kind of this next checkpoint.
Now, before we go any further there, real quick, there is a wave of Jackal snipers that get dropped down on top of. It's called the lift room. That's what we call it on Complex.
Yes.
If you're looking to get some snipers, this is definitely a good mission to get them on, and you can pick up. I believe there's rocket launchers there that you can get. In fact, really, the computer room that's in the main big room, not the hangar, but one of the other buildings, has an array of different UNSC weapons.
Oh yeah, I completely forgot about that.
Yeah, I mean, and it's just filled with every and any kind of weapon, UNSC weapon that you want, be it rocket launcher, sniper, DMR, BR, SAW, AR, everything you want is there, and they will replenish over time as well. The next room to that, which is called the kitchen, that's its call out, has frag grenades, and they keep replenishing as well. So I highly recommend to use those two rooms to keep your ammo going. But anyways, getting back to the snipers, if you grab a rocket launcher, once you get used to this mission and you know when they're going to come, grab that rocket launcher, go to the top of that building, wait for them to drop, and then just blow them away right away. Otherwise, you might be dealing with a little bit of trouble, especially on Legendary, with all those snipers up there, because they can create some problems for you. Now, getting to those Phantoms, once you get the missile system up and running, don't just let it do it for you. You actually will gain points and experience for shooting at those Phantoms. So even though technically you're not the one that's blowing them up, the missiles are, your shots will count towards that. And you'll see in your biggest kills at the end of the game that you'll get credit for killing a Phantom. Even though it doesn't count for commendations, it's still something to go for.
All right. Never really thought about that, but yeah, that should work. I like to call that room the server room. It's the room on which everyone stands on top of whenever you're playing in war games. So it's that middle control area. So that's the area we're talking about.
Right.
Yeah, I like to call that the server room. And yeah, it has weapon crates for every possible weapon, UNSC weapon.
Yeah.
To clarify. So use that to your advantage. I completely forgot about that.
Oh yeah. Well, that's why there are two of us.
Indeed. Touché, sir. Touché.
Ah.
After you activate the turrets and everyone's been cleared out, you'll have Dr. Alexander, who is actually running the mini reactor, come on the radio and basically say, why is my reactor not having power anymore? And Palmer's like, our military override science today or something like that. And then he comes back and says, well, if you don't restore power to it, there's a likely chance that this place is all going to blow up. It's like, well, great.
Yeah.
So now we just have to undo what we just did, which will leave us defenseless again, probably. So you're given another waypoint, and for some reason it's not the same waypoint as it was before.
Of course not.
Of course not. And that'd be too simple and too logical, right?
Right.
So you go to the back, was it blue spawn? What team normally spawns back there? It's either... No.
Gosh, I can't remember what team spawns there.
I'm blanking right now.
I think it's...
Actually, maybe red team.
Yeah, I think it's red team.
Red team, sorry.
But it's a little further back there. Yeah.
So they spawn in the... It's the side that has the lift room on it. There we go.
Right.
So that in that back room there, that's where the switch is. And right as you enter there, Prometheans will spawn in there. A knight and several crawlers.
Oh, yes.
It is possible to get in there, activate the switch, and get out, but it's very difficult.
Yeah, expect to get your ass handed to you here. This one is... That room and the amount of Prometheans you got to deal with, unless all of your buddies are there with you to help you out. If you go in there by yourself, you probably won't be coming out, at least on Legendary.
Right. And if you do manage to... Well, so this is where the rockets really come into play, too.
Mm-hmm.
If you have a full tube of rockets, whenever you just go in there, you blow up the knight, and then you just pull out whatever precision weapon you have and proceed to kill the crawlers in there.
Right. This is why I say it's really important if you have your buddies with you. You know where that room's going to be at, so you can have somebody waiting to pull the switch. But if you have, there's 3 entrances to that room, so if you have your other 3 buddies at the doors waiting for when those enemies spawn, they can be throwing grenades and hitting the rocket launcher. And of course, since you don't have to worry about friendly fire, you yourself won't die even if they're shooting at or near you. So, they can certainly help to take out the enemies. More often than not, though, I've noticed that that doesn't seem to happen. It seems like everybody shies away from going into that room until one person finally says, okay, fine, I'll go do it.
I don't know. I'd be the one that just runs in there. As long as I have rockets, I'd just blow up the knight. It's not that hard to blow it up, even on Legendary. You just have to make sure you know what you're doing.
Right.
So, take care of those guys, and if you're running on Legendary, or if you're running solo on Legendary, well, any difficulty really, you'll walk outside, and there's a whole nother group of Prometheans to greet you.
Oh, yes.
They're just so happy to see you.
They're like, hi, we're happy to see you.
Die! So there's plenty of knights here, and I'm assuming you'll give us the count when we get to the end.
Oh, yeah.
There's crawlers, knights. I didn't see too many watchers, but right after you get out of that room, that's when it starts to get hairy. At least for the Promethean stuff. There's not. It's definitely not as long of a fighting sequence as it is with the Covenant, just because you're basically sitting there until the script kicks in that you need to go redivert power. But there's still quite a bit of knights that'll give you a run for your money.
Definitely. Now there is there's a point where there's the knight that's in that big hangar area with the thing that kind of looks like the small composer. I don't know what it is, but that's what it reminds me of. But there's watchers in there, and that's in particular where I happen to get my first watcher assassination. So if you haven't done it yet and you're looking to try to get a watcher assassination, this is probably a good opportunity to do so, because there are a few watchers that spawn there. So just something to think of. Certainly on the lower difficulties, it makes it much easier to do.
Agreed. Yep. So after that's all done, you successfully have defended Galileo Base, and Fireteam Majestic will come in, pick up the package, and that'll lead us to the next time we get on the show and talk about the next episode.
Yeah. Isn't it great that you do all the hard work and then Majestic comes and takes the package away? You're like, what? Wait a minute, what? But anyways, I'm
not complaining.
Yeah. For enemies, there's 34 regular grunts, 17 jackals. Mixed in there's also some sniper jackals. 33 crawlers, so this is another good one for that.
There were that many?
33 crawlers. Oh, yeah.
Dang.
Yeah, yep. And then there is a mix of regular knights, a couple of battle wagons in there, and like I said, then you've got the watchers too. So really this mission, it's diversified. It's got a few high numbers, not a lot. But again, going back to what we were saying, this mission, because of just the wave after wave that you keep fighting, if you want the more firefight feel to it, this is definitely the mission that you want to replay. And I do happen to like this mission for that purpose. So it's one that I highly recommend to replay, for firefight.
All right. Was there a solid count on the number of knights?
I have.
I didn't hear you give that out.
Yeah, it's not as many as you would think. I only have 9 knights and 2 battle wagons. Oh, wait, am I reading the right thing? My bad. I'm reading the wrong one, aren't I? I think so. Wait.
I was about to say, that seems a little low.
Wait a second. Hold on here. Where are we at?
Episode 4, Chapter 5.
Yeah, no, that's right. Yeah, it is right. It is right.
Huh.
Yeah.
I guess it's just such a concentrated amount of time, it seems like a lot.
Right. Well, and, it's all those crawlers is what adds to it as well.
Yeah.
So, there's a lot of chaos near the end there, and it is a very condensed amount of time. So it seems like there's more than there might really be.
It's just because you get them all at once for the most part.
Got it. Alrighty, that concludes our coverage of Chapter 4.
Whew. I think this is a long episode, huh?
We're running about an hour and 40 minutes.
Holy cow, you got some editing to do.
Are you kidding? I'm just putting this all straight up. It's all good stuff. Minus the one bit that no one will know about. But anyways, thank you guys for listening. We will cover the final episode of the first half of Spartan Ups on our next one. And of course, thank you to HaloFanForLife for coming out here. And we will see you guys next time.
Thanks.